Welcome to Thrive Yoga and Wellness. My name is Jennifer Dixon, and today for this Friday morning, I'm going to be reviewing another product by HighOh. They reached out to me after I did their product with the period starter kit, and if you haven't seen it, definitely make sure to check out that video. I'll try to link to it in the description down below. And so HighOh is a family company, a couple of sisters that are out to try to help to create some feminine products that we can all use. And so when they asked me to to see if I would like to review their boob tape, interestingly enough, I had to Google what that was, and then I will be 40 in a couple of weeks, and so I might not be up to snuff on what all of the influencers of today are using to help show off their assets, if you will. And so, long story longer, when they asked me that, I was like, oh, and I Googled it, and I was like, oh, you know what, that'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't mind trying it. I've used medical tape, for like strains or whatever on various injuries, but to me, it seemed like it was basically using medical tape to help lift the ladies, right? And I've had 2 kids. I've breastfed both kids. And again, I'm almost 40, so I could use all the lifting that I could get comfortable. That's the key, right? And so I was super, super tickled to get the opportunity to try this product because it is the very first time I've ever been exposed to boob tape. Actually, Jade at our front desk had to find a review of a different product from another influencer so that I could see it, I guess, going in real life. And let me tell you, what you see on YouTube or Instagram or when people are doing it or like when they already have it, there's a little bit of a learning curve, okay? So just leave it at that. It still works even if it's bunched up because I have not yet mastered the art of getting it towards my back without bunching it up, although this side didn't do too bad. And so keep that in mind. And joining me today, I have my daughter's little Elsa doll, which is she's not developed very well Elsa doll, but I figured that I would spare you guys the 40-year-old double breastfed babies, not to mention I don't really want to show the world these. I will show you what it looks like underneath the shirt, and we can tell a little bit more about it, but I figured I would demonstrate it with the help of this very, I guess, rather androgynous looking Elsa doll, minus all of her clothes. So maybe I'll have to make this be a PG-13 video. Before we go on, I do have the iTunes meditation channel playing in the background, just in case my dogs decide to start barking or anything else obnoxious. So, let's talk about this HighOh boob tape. When I got it in the mail, it came in a little box. It's pink. It's really cute. And it says HighOh on the front. And you get, inside of the container, you get 2 of these that are basically little pasties. They go in on your nipples. And in each of these containers, there are 8. So you actually have 16 opportunities to wear this boob tape, assuming that the tape lasts you long enough. Now, the point of these are, if you can see, let me get them really, where's my camera? There it is. So it's like a Band-Aid, right? So here is the tape part, and this is the part that actually goes on your nipple. I would not wear this tape without this part because that would hurt like a holy mother, right? Even if you breastfed and it's not the same, you still want to have this little layer of protection there to help hold it. My thought was, and I'm just going to be real here, ladies, I was a little bit concerned. Let me show you. I know one of these is open. Has it resealed itself? I was a little bit concerned as like whether or not the fabric would be thick enough to, cover up the headlights. And let me tell you, between this little bitty fabric, I'll show you how small it is. See, it's really little bitty. Between this soft, very, very soft fabric and the tape, I haven't had any like headlights showing. So that's a plus, right? And the other benefit of it is the soft fabric is covering, I guess, the most sensitive area, and then the tapey part's on the less sensitive area. And you know what? If you need to shave or if you haven't waxed there or whatever, guess what? The tape may help with that too. So keep that in mind. So going from there, I am Cuban. My father is Cuban, so we're hairy. So I apologize if that embarrassed anybody. So what you get besides that is 2 rolls of this tape. It comes all sealed up, nice little sticker. And this is the one that I have already used. And on the back side, here's a little piece that I'm going to use on our friend Elsa. On the back side, it's nice little grid work for you to be able to kind of tell where you're cutting. So, user error or user error report number 1. This stuff stretches a lot. So and I'm still trying to figure out exactly how much I need, and I'll show you my back here in a minute. So the first time, I'll just show you, is this one already cut? Yeah. So when I went to go measure, I used the tape and I went a couple of inches beneath this one breast, and then I went around to the back, not very far, just a couple of inches, right? And I thought, oh, that's probably pretty good, right? And I've done this now a handful of times, and so I'm still figuring it out. And you would think I would start to count my squares, but I haven't. Note to self. So what happened when you go for that full length right there, you end up with tape that is more like midway down your back because it's stretching so much to help you lift everything. So first one was about that long, which was too long. Second one was about this long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares. And 6 squares seem to work pretty well for me personally. The other thing is this is my 4-inch. I got the 4-inch tape. So what I did is I went ahead and cut it in half because I honestly didn't think that I needed the full 4 inches covering the entire breast, the entire boob, basically. I am not planning on running with this boob tape, and so I like a little bit more natural movement, and so cutting it in half was basically perfect. It has been perfect for me. That when I did use it with the whole one, I only did it on one side, and I didn't even last very long because I was like, ugh. So I only did a half. However, if I was a little bit more endowed, some of my ladies that might have a little bit, God bless them, a little bit more, you probably will need a little bit more tape to help lift. I am a C. I'm a solid C, and so this half seemed to have been just fine, and you can kind of see how deep and how wide a half is when it's not all boogered up. See, here I am boogered up. Here it is nice and straight. Now, the beautiful thing about this boob tape is, check it out. I'm wearing a low-cut shirt. Holy moly, it's going down low, right? And there's no bra. That's pretty cool. I don't have any bras that are like super low cut like this, and I rarely wear deep V-necks like this anymore anyways. As a yoga studio owner, you don't really need to do that, thankfully, but on occasion, date nights or whatever, we'll go out and I'll have a deep V-neck, and I usually end up wearing a typical bra and then like a, what are they called, one of those camisoles, excuse me. And so that ends up showing camisole like up to here, right? And so every now and then you might want to wear something a little bit more low cut, or you might want the freedom to be able to go around and it looks like you're not wearing anything. And so this boob tape is actually really, really nice for that. Another thing is, in my younger, I guess more freer days, I was able to run around sans bra. There's no way I would do that now with having 2 kids and oh my gosh. But it feels a little bit more natural like that without all of the bouncing that would come with being almost 40 and having breastfed both children. So they're kind of held in place, but it also kind of feels like a little bit of bralessness, a little bit of going commando for your boobs. So I really liked the freedom that it gave me in that regard. I will tell you that this side is way more comfortable ending right here than this side, which goes way, way, way down my back because I cut the strap too long. So keep that in mind as you're working on your cuts and how long and how far. The HighOh website and online, you have so many different ways that you can cut it. You can like do bandeau to just kind of push them down. You can kind of do cross bodies to help give you a little bit more oomph, if you will. I just have every single time, mostly because I'm not that creative, just gone straight up just to help lift them up, go back to where they used to be, and kind of keep them in place, but they're a little bit more relaxed and freeing feeling. So I really, honestly, I kind of like it. It kind of feels nice, and my shirt's really soft, so I'm all like, woohoo, this feels good. Now, let's go ahead and practice on baby Elsa so you can see what it's like. I am not going to use one of my little pasties on baby Elsa, mostly because I don't want to share with baby Elsa. But what you would do, and plus because the little pasty would basically cover up her entire chest, what you would do is you would grab your little circle pasty, the little nipple cover, and then it's split in two actually, so it's really easy. And then you would cover up one nipple. And see, again, one covers up her whole her whole chest, right? So when you're doing it, I went ahead and kind of put it where I wanted it to be, and then kind of went around for that. Make sure that the fabric, because this is really nice fabric, is on the fabric side, is on the nipple side, because otherwise this side doesn't have any stickies on it, and then it would just be tape sticking to tape, and that's not as effective. So make sure you put tape side down. That may be like a thank you, Captain Obvious moment, but I'm just saying it because there may have been a reason why I needed to say it that way. So make sure you put the tape side down. So what you're going to do is measure it, but keep in mind you don't do exactly like what I did and measure it non-stretched, because then you're ended up, it's going to be basically like pickpocketing your own back pocket. I do go a little bit beneath the breast and then go up and over. And so what my new theory is to go as long as I need it without being stretched, and then take away 2 squares. And that ends up with what you have here, just over the top of the shoulder, which is fine for me. And that gives me enough lift. It's not got my boobs up to my chin, but it's enough lift that they feel like they're being held in place. But there's a little bit of movement and wiggleness, and you can still have some, I guess it's still freedom and liberty, and it still looks good. And so you can you barely even see it because it is that nude color on my skin. So pretending that baby Elsa has her little pasties on, covering up her little nipples, you're going to take your tape and some scissors and measure out how much of this stuff that you need. So baby Elsa is tiny. We're going to go right beneath the breast, right around here, and go up to her shoulders, remember, all right, which is right about here where my middle finger is. And then we're going to take off a little bit. So where's my middle finger? My middle finger is one of these little squares past the big, let me see if I can show you better. My middle finger was this little line beneath the big line. So I'm going to cut it at the big line, just because I think it'll stretch enough for our baby Elsa needs. The grid on the back is totally clutch, because otherwise I would be like, where do I cut this stuff? And since baby Elsa is not nearly as big as I am, I'm going to go ahead and cut these probably into quarters. So let me go ahead and cut it in half, and then cut that in half as well, just because baby Elsa is tiny and I want you guys to be able to see it. So that's 1/2 of that one, and then let me cut it in half. Sharp scissors are key. And so here we have our 2 little tapes for our baby Elsa. The tape is very easy to come off. You're just going to kind of peel it apart, and hopefully you haven't stabbed yourself with a can opener or an opened can of vegetables in the most recent history, or you at least have nails, so it's pretty easy to come off. Now, the thing that you want to keep in mind, especially when you're doing this on you, don't take all the tape off at first, because they're going to get bunched up. Just kind of like, well, my back got bunched up because I'm just not that coordinated. But because this is such a small piece of fabric, I'm going to be okay with taking the whole thing of tape off. But for you personally, and for me, I leave the tape on, just take off like 2 inches of tape, and then as I'm applying the tape to the breast, I'm pulling off the stick part, the non-stick part. So, but because Elsa's so little, we're just going to hold her here, say hi Elsa, and I'm going to go ahead and put her hands up in front so you can kind of see what's going on. I'm going to unpeel this breast booby tape. And again, we want to lift, right? Most of us do. So we're going to start beneath the breast tissue. This is so funny. I cannot believe I'm doing this. Starting beneath the breast tissue right there, and then stretch it up and over the shoulder. because that provides the lift and support that you need for baby Elsa to have a nicely supported boobie on this left-hand side. Let me do it again on the other side just for you to know. And if you noticed, I didn't just lift up. I kind of lifted up and over towards the side. That's going to create less cleavage. If you want to have more cleavage and you don't, and you've got the capacity to kind of have it covered up, you could. I have seen pictures of people crossing it over the front to help do the lift. You can also take the tape and kind of bring it together at the base of the breast tissue to help give it that boost, maybe like that Mozart area, like. But I think for typical purposes, just going straight up, that's all I've done. And that one's worked really, really, really fine for me to help get things in place and keep things in place, if you will. Okay, so now I'm going for breast tissue number 2, boobie number 2. I was like, am I supposed to say boobies or breasts? But since this is a boob tape, we're going to call it boobies. So here's Elsa, her one taped boobie and her non-taped boobie. Remember, I don't recommend taking all the tape off all at first. And it does come off way easier when it's on when it's much bigger, but for some reason when it's this little, it's a bigger pain in the rear end. So go ahead, just take off the base of the tape, that's going to go right beneath the breast tissue. And this is the part that's going to have the heavy lifting. So we're going to want to put it right underneath the boob and then stretch that fabric out. So this is non-stretch about right here. Can you see? This is stretch. You see the difference? That goes almost up to her thumb. So you want to stretch it up to help lift the ladies. Everybody needs some lifting. And then you take it up and over the shoulders, trying to not get it in her hair or your hair. Yeah, that one went all right. So you can see that it's going to help. It's going to start beneath the breast. It's going to go up and over the breast, over the pasty, and then across up into the shoulder blades. Let me show you what it looks like on my back. Thank you, baby Elsa. I hope Adalia does not freak out when she comes home and sees baby Elsa with basically pasties and some boob tape. Thank you, baby Elsa. So let me give you a glance, a gander. See if you can see that it's very natural looking. It kind of looks like I'm not wearing anything, but they're kind of sort of held in place, which I really like. So across the back, you can see this side I cut perfectly, which was basically 2 big squares shorter than the other side. And that's a really good spot for me to end it. It feels comfortable. It's helping to lift everything. It is very nude color, so unless you were looking really close, it might be easy to see that I'm even wearing the boob tape, which is nice. And then let me show you the side. I always cut the first side wrong. I just always do. And maybe I'll write myself a note to say don't cut, but it's kind of an interesting gamble when, especially if you're going to start to play with more creative ways to lift. Here is the other side where it just keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. It is like all the way down my back. And so that is way, 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 way too long. I think I should have cut it. I liked that the 2 square inches a little, or I think it's 2 inches. It might be a little bit more than 2 inches. I like that one being a little bit shorter because it ends right where I need it to, and it still is able to hold up the boobs. And so this stuff has worked really well. I haven't gotten super sweaty in it yet. I have kind of been a little bit nervous to rock out the boob tape in a yoga class. I may or may not get brave enough to do that. And if I do, I'll leave the comments down below and let you know how it feels. Mostly I've done this just kind of, day-to-day activities. I will tell you, just especially if you're kind of like a mom that's going around daily activities and then you're like, boob tape, it does kind of amp it up a little bit. Like, I'm like, I should probably put some makeup on if I'm putting boob tape on. So there's no excuse to not make yourself feel a little pretty when you've got some boob tape on for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The stuff stretches a lot. It's really stretchy. And more importantly, it's really kind of soft. The actual pasty part for the nipple is very comfortable. None of the tape is on the super sensitive area. However, again, as you rip it off, if you have any thing that might come off with the tape, keep that in mind. But that's not to me, that's not bad. I tweezed my eyebrows and whatever since I was like 9, so that's not that big of a deal. This does stay on, like it'll stay on all day. Walking around, it's wintertime, so I haven't gotten super sweaty. I'm gonna have to practice with this. Maybe I'll wear this to practice over in the next few days and just see how well it does. But it feels the exact same as the medical tape that you get, like when you have to tape your shoulder up, or we've had a posture clinic where we taped our shoulders down and away from the ears. It feels just like that. And that tape, that stuff lasts for like days and days. I think 3 to 5 days you need to like pull it off. So this stuff is heavy duty stuff. It'll last easily all day. I haven't worn it multiple days. I will caution you though that my skin tends to get irritated with that medical tape, so I can never really wear it more than 3 days, and because of the adhesive stuff. And so I haven't worn it for more than like an all day long period. It didn't irritate my skin that way, but keep that in mind if you've never used medical tape or anything like that. Having all of that adhesive all over on your skin, that could cause an irritation. It didn't do it for me in a day long experiment, like if I've done it for like all day, but it could happen if you're going to take a shower and leave it on and then sleep with it and all of that stuff. So I wouldn't recommend, honestly, like keeping it on unless you just really wanted to, because you want your skin to breathe, right? Just like you want your ladies to breathe, you want your skin to breathe. So the HighOh boob tape comes in 2 sizes. There's a 3-inch and a 4-inch, and they are working diligently to make sure that it is available on Amazon. Right now it's just available for you to purchase on their website, but I do think it's a really good product that is serving a niche and serving a need for women that want to have the freedom to wear maybe lower cut things or straps or something like that and not have to have the bra. It definitely helps hold the breast tissue up. It doesn't, to me, it's not uncomfortable, but I haven't done the bandeau way. I'd have to try that. I was a little bit nervous of doing that, just to be honest, because I don't love the super tight sports bras, so I haven't tried that. But using it more like as a traditional lift, it's been very comfortable. It doesn't irritate my skin. It does last all day, and it blends very nicely, at least with my skin tone. It blends very nicely. And more importantly, it kind of feels very light and easy because there's nothing else on. So it kind of feels like you're going commando, but you're not going commando. So there's that. There's that. This does come fairly quickly. Like if you order it from the company, or especially once it's all on Amazon Prime, you can get it like that. And a little bit goes a long way. Excuse me. Depending on your build, the size of your breast. I mean, this is going to last me a long time because I'm going to cut them in half. And then I'm going to run out of the pasties, the nipple covers, before I run out of the tape, just because I don't have to use the full size. And I honestly feel like I could probably even go a little bit smaller, but then you're starting to look at, like, see maybe some bulging, like the boob coming over off of either side. So as you can tell, I'm wearing it with a thicker kind of sweater material, but you can't really see the tape through the material. And even if you take it tight, it doesn't look super uneven. If I was wearing a very, very, very tight shirt, you might see a little bit of flatness there. So keep that in mind. I haven't worn this with a tight, very thin material, but I do believe that the way to go around that would just to tape it looser for a little bit less support. I wanted some support to help lift these guys up. And so when you're wearing something that's got a little bit more substance, I feel like it makes totally perfect sense to go with this tape, because you can't see it. It feels fine. It kind of gives you some freedom and mobility, and then you're not dealing with that bra issue. You have a nice neckline that's not being, I mean, I guess it is low cut, so that might be inappropriate, in some areas, but you're not seeing that bra line. And so it's kind of, it gives you some freedom, but it's not like the freedom, like, oh, it opens up and then you've got that Janet Jackson moment from the Super Bowl showing my age. So at least this way we're covered, we're supported, we're lifted, we're made to look a little bit better, and then it'll stay all day. You've got that all day support. My biggest complaints would be the fact, because it is so sticky, it does stick together like this. And so it can be kind of hard to, especially at first, to get this by yourself. Now, if you have a friend, like you've got girls' night out and you've got a friend, that friend would be able to help you to do that without getting it bunched up, just like I was able to do baby Elsa very easily. But once you're getting it on yourself and you're trying to like remove the tape from the adhesive backing, and you're trying to get it up there and hold everything at the same time, this bunching does happen, especially here at the shoulders. And in this particular case, just because I'm kind of slow to get it going. And it's almost always the first one looks worse than the second one, and I'm left-handed, so this side's always going to look worse than this because it takes me a second. I imagine if I did this like every day for an entire box, I would get better, but it's much easier if you're doing it on somebody else. And it does stretch a lot. The adhesive hasn't irritated my skin yet, but it could if you did it and you left this on your skin like overnight or over a long time. I can't say that it has mine, but I've never left it on overnight. I do love how free it makes me feel, and I like the quality of it because it's not just, like a Band-Aid material. It's even better feeling than that flexible Band-Aid material. It feels very cloth-like. It feels very much like this thinner modal cloth, but just has a little bit of tape mixed into the fibers. So I actually kind of like it. I think it feels good. I think it does its job really nicely. And you know what? It doesn't ever hurt to make yourself kind of feel like a little prettier. So you know what, ladies? Get yourself some boob tape and rock the mess out of boob tape. It feels pretty good. It's nice and easy, and more importantly, like, it's super easy to apply and put on, and it doesn't kill you to take off. The putting on and taking off, it's not a big deal. I've got a little bit more tape that's left over from our Elsa doll demonstration. So let me show you how easy it is to get it off. Now, if you have a hairy back or something like that, or I don't know, God forbid, something else, it might be a little bit more painful. But here, the chest is fairly sensitive. I'm going to put it on the chest, pretend it's been all day. It's very easy to remove. I don't want to take my tape off. So you just kind of pull it and grab it off. It's actually less painful to remove this than it is like a Band-Aid. Like this Band-Aid that I have covering my finger, it's a bigger pain to remove this Band-Aid than it is to remove this boob tape. So it's actually kind of cool in that regard. So the adhesive is very, very sticky, but it comes off as you pull it up fairly easily. So I really liked the HighOh boob tape. I'm super thankful that they asked me to try the product and to review the product. And I hope that this review helps you make the decision to purchase the HighOh boob tape or boob tape in general. I really, really liked it. I love this company. I love supporting any sort of family business. I own my own family business. My husband and I are in the business, almost every single day. And I love supporting other similarly minded individuals. So this HighOh boob tape, it's kind of the bomb. I like it. The only thing that I could be thinking that might be a pain is if you left it on too long and you started getting irritation, but that hasn't happened for me. So go ahead, get yourself some boob tape, and then let me know what you think. And also, I would love to know what other types of products that you're using. I've tried some of those, like just little C things, those little C tapes. No good. I've tried a lot of other different alternatives to bras, and I didn't like them as much as I have liked this boob tape. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Let me know what you think. Go ahead. Oh, definitely. I love to have comments and things like that. And don't forget to subscribe. We're going to be bringing you different kinds of reviews, I hope, every single Friday of mostly the products that we'll have inside of Thrive Yoga and Wellness. But as other companies reach out and ask me to give my honest review, I will definitely do it. I did receive this for the purposes of this review, but I really, really like it. And when I have a need to get dressed up, which I think it's Parents' Night Out in a couple of weeks, I will be busting out my boob tape because it's very, very nice and freeing, and I kind of like it. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, my name is Jennifer Dixon with Thrive Yoga and Wellness, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.